What's up guys, it's Cody here. And if you guys have been with me for a couple of years, then you know I used to do a series called the best tweaks of the week. This is where I would basically go over all the brand new tweaks that had come out that week and show you what's new and see if you guys wanted to download or install any of these tweaks on your device. So I asked on Twitter if you guys would like to see this series come back, and I got an overwhelming, resounding yes. So this is the very first episode of that series coming back. Now, of course, I don't have as big of a following on Twitter as I do on YouTube, so if you guys want to see this series continue on a weekly basis, make sure you hit that like button to let me know that this is something that all you guys are interested in. Now, there was also some talk about the perfect jailbroken series making a comeback as well. I'm possibly going to be doing that on a weekly basis. We're going to see how that goes. If not a weekly, I'm going to try a bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. So again, let me know in the comments or by hitting that like button if you guys want to see this series continue. As long as you guys are watching it, as long as you guys are commenting and liking the videos, I'll continue to do it. So hopefully this will be your one-stop shop for all jailbreak tweaks. All right, so now that I've got my incredibly long intro out of the way, let's jump into these tweaks. All right, so the first tweak I want to talk about here is called BetterBadges. So you can see what that does right here is it puts a badge notification right on top of your application. Now there's a couple of options that I'll show you that have different shapes and different designs right here. But the first thing I want to talk about is just how good it looks with any badge notification under 100. So if you have triple digit notifications, it's not going to look that great. So you can see right up here, for example, my mail, it has, like 50,000 email, and it just, the numbers don't fit in that circular notification badge. So if we swipe over here, you can see if you have 1,000, it's just not going to look that great. So anything under 100 notifications is going to look fine. But if we go into our settings here and we go into the BetterBadges settings right here, you can see right here you can match the app color. So rather than just having the red default notification badge, you can change that to match the app color. You also have adaptive colors, the background blur. You can also add the border, which I have enabled. If you come down here, you can see that I have the circular enabled, but you can change it to rounded. I actually think the rounded looks a little bit better. It looks kind of cool. I'll just leave the colors default for now, but you can change the background, the text, the border, and the default folder color. So right up here, once you make any changes, you do have to respring your device. And then once you respring, those changes will take effect. So once this resprings, we'll just swipe up here and you can see what that looks like right there. And I think it looks pretty cool. I do wish they could make the text for the badge notifications a little bit smaller so they fit a little bit better. So I like the idea. I just think the text and the badge notifications just need to be sized down a bit. Next, let's talk about CoolCC. So this is a tweak that changes your control center to make it look cooler. So you can see it just basically takes the outline of all of these toggles right here, and I think it looks really good. It has the blurred background, it still looks really great, and that's really all that CoolCC does. It gives you that outline, it makes it look just like this. Now, another tweak that we have installed here that you can kind of tell is a tweak called CCSpaceitems. So CCSpaceitems is going to allow you to change the separation or how spaced out your toggles are in your control center. So if we go ahead and hop into our settings and we go to CCSpaceitems, open that up, you can see I don't really like the settings panel for this just because it's impossible to see how much you're changing it. But you basically just slide this up or down. And if you slide it over to the right, then that means it's going to space out the widgets and the toggles, and then you have to respring right there. So if you don't like how it's set up, then you can slide it over to the left, and that's going to condense all the toggles and just make it look a little bit more tighter. So we'll just go ahead and swipe down here. You can see that we spaced out just a bit. Now the other thing about this tweak is that it needs to recenter the control center if you spread out the toggles like this, because you can see that it has the margin right over here and then it spreads out this way. So you can scrunch it in this way, but the margin over here just never changes. So that's kind of annoying, but I'm hoping this is something that can be easily fixed in a future update. Now you probably also noticed that I have a colored dock. This is due to the tweak ColorMyDock, a very original name. If we go ahead and open up the settings app and we swipe over here to ColorMyDock, you can basically change this to whatever color you want. Now this is a really different type of color wheel or color selector, but you can really just kind of feel it out and it's gonna change depending on where you put these sliders. So if we wanted to make it, green, which is probably going to look hideous, you can do that, and then you just tap apply changes, and it's going to respring your device. At that point, you should get a different color on your dock here. Now this is not going to work with a tweak like floating dock. I had that installed previously and it just wasn't working, but this is a good tweak if you want to change the color of your dock for a specific theme. Next up, we have a tweak called Unplugged. What this tweak does is play a sound every time you unplug your device from charging. So you can see right here, I've just set that up basically to play that sound when it's unplugged. There's a ton of different sounds that you can choose from if we go into the settings here. So you have a few settings that you can toggle on and off depending on, if your device is muted or silent, if you have the little switch muted. But you can also use the Malipo sounds, which is a tweak that I covered in one of my previous videos. But also right down here, you can select the sound. So there's just a ton of them that are right here. They're not all that great. They're basically all like standard iOS, iPhone sounds. So if you want to use Malipo, I would definitely recommend doing that just because there's a lot cooler sounds out there than what comes stock with this tweak. Now the next tweak we have installed is called MoveUpCydia. So if you have an iPhone 10 and you installed no small apps to basically stretch out the look of Cydia, you'll notice that all of the icons right down here at the bottom were actually underneath this touch bar down here on the iPhone 10. So what MoveUpCydia does is actually move up Cydia so it's not behind this bar. And this is just one of those tweaks that's an absolute install if you have an iPhone 10, just because nobody wants those icons that low, and sometimes it was even hard to tap on some of those icons. So moving Cydia up just makes sense. Next up, we have a tweak called Noty or Noty. So what this tweak does is allow you to swipe on the status bar either right or left, and then it's going to invoke a banner notification. So this is just a really nice tweak, especially for me when I need to show, banner notification tweaks, or if you're doing some theming by yourself and you want to see what the banners look like. So if we just go into our Noty preferences right here and open that up, you can see that you can enable this for a couple of different notifications. So you have a first notification, second, and third right here. And you can change some of these up depending on how you want this to work. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you make any of the changes, you hit the respring button and then you can use it. So if we go ahead and swipe on the status bar to the left, I have a great idea. Let me take off Do Not Disturb and then let's try it again. All right, there we go. So, and you can change the text in that. Now, one thing I do want to talk about other than that tweak is the other tweak that is changing the look of this banner notification, and that's called NoBannerName. So you can see if we swipe this and show a notification, it doesn't have the settings app name right up there in the top. It only has the app icon. So that's all that NoBannerName does. I think the look of it just looks really good, and probably when I start doing a perfect jailbroken setup, that's one that I'll be using. Now next up we have a tweak called Selectmoji. This is a nice tweak because what it does is allow you to set what your favorite emojis are, or your recent emojis. So that little box of recent emojis that you have when you're texting somebody, this allows you to set them to whatever you want to. Because sometimes you'll use an emoji that you don't use very often, but you use it a lot in one particular situation, and then it's in your recent emojis and it knocks out one of the ones that you actually use all the time. So you can see right here that we have the robot, the little dude, the girl, the panda, all that stuff. So if we go ahead and open up our emojis here and we swipe over to our recents, you can see that's exactly what's set up. The robot, the dude, the girl, the panda, and it just goes through all of those. So if you leave any of these emojis blank in the settings, then it's actually going to use, whatever recent emoji or most used emoji towards the end of your list. This is the first paid tweak in this video, and I think it's worth the 80 cents that it costs just because it allows you to keep all the emojis that you want right at the front of your emoji list. Next we have STEALMEME. So this is a really small tweak and I just think it's kind of funny. This is something that I do all the time as I save GIFs or pictures or something from Reddit. So if you open up Reddit and you try to save something, you can see rather than saying save photo, it just says STEALMEME. So small tweak, but I like it. Next is TapTap for Netflix. So if you're a Netflix user and you like how YouTube uses the double tap on the right hand side or double tap on the left hand side in order to fast forward, then you're probably gonna like this because that's exactly what this does. So you can see if we double tap, it's going to go forward 10 seconds. If we double tap back, it's going to go back 10 seconds. If you 3D press, it's going to pause it, 3D press again, then it's going to play. If you double tap, it's going to zoom, and double tap, it'll zoom out. So pretty self-explanatory. It's a nice little tweak to have if you're a Netflix user and you want those controls. Next is UrbanNC. So what this does is once you've cleared all your notifications, rather than having that normal default text that you have on your notification center, it actually is going to give you the Urban Dictionary word of the day and that definition. So you can just read through that right there. Now right here you can see it's kind of, it's not great because it's overlapping, but you can just pull it down to read. And it's just something that's a little bit more useful and something that you can check on a daily basis rather than the default text that's usually there put there by iOS. Now the next tweak we have here is called Vitality. And you'll have to add a source in order to get this one, but this is what is giving me this GIF in the background that's playing nonstop. Now this is something that's obviously probably going to drain your battery life like crazy, and I wouldn't say that it's necessarily implemented terribly well just because the way that you have to apply a GIF or to change this default GIF is by going into, iFile or Fileza and manually copying, pasting, and changing the name of the GIF. So I don't want to necessarily go into how to change it in this video just because it's going to make this video a whole lot longer. So I'll put the instructions in the comments below. I'll put a link. I think there's a Reddit post or there's some tutorial somewhere that I'll find, and I'll link that in the description if you guys want to install that. But I actually wasn't going to cover this tweak until it was better implemented, but it's on my phone and I know some people are going to be asking about it. So I'll give you the instructions in the description. All right, guys, that's all I got for the first episode of the best tweaks of the week. If you guys want to continue this series, make sure you hit that like button so I know you guys want to see more of these videos. And of course, you guys want to stay up to date with everything Apple, everything Jailbreak, and any other tech that I want to cover, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.